Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the season finale here in PSGL F6. My name is, of course, Michael Edwards, going to be taking you through the action here tonight, and joined alongside me in the commentary box, as always, is Mr. Quinn. Quinn, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. Of course, the season finale is here in F6, and we've got a championship battle in the driver's side to look forward to. Of course, we did have constructors battle as well, but there's only one Williams here, so it's mathematically impossible for Williams to win the constructors now. So before we've even done the race, congrats to Alpine for winning the constructors.
Well, I mean, we say that. I mean, technically, mathematically, there's 5 teams still within the constructors. Obviously, Williams were the nearest rivals. They were 19 points off the back of Alpine, so obviously being down the driver means that Williams are effectively out of it. Obviously, we got the Mercedes pairing, but obviously one Mercedes here, so they're out of it. The Alfa Romeo is currently fourth in the standings. Both of their drivers are here, so technically can win it as well, and also only one Red Bull. So essentially, we're looking at a championship battle, essentially between the Alpines, as we're on board with RCR King. So we'll actually go on a lap with King as we come down into turn number 1 of this fantastic Abu Dhabi circuit, the Yas Marina circuit. 5.2 kilometers in length as we come down into the hairpin. 17.2 in the first sector there from King, and good traction on the exit from the Alpine driver. And honestly, I mean, as I was about to say, in terms of the constructors, we got a 26.5 point gap between Alfa Romeo and Alpine, with a maximum of 29 points available. So essentially, as long as Alpine score more than 2.5 points here, which is very likely, I mean, Alpine will become the constructors champion, as King now coming to the middle sector split, and it's a 52.8 in the middle sector. We come through the turn 9 left-hander, where we could be seeing the back end step out on a few cars here as we come into the fantastic, technically acute sector of sector 3 as we come through the end of the circuit. Of course, the right-hander penultimate corner, could we be seeing any lunges there, and into the final corner as well as we come to the line with King, and it's an initial lap time for 121.8.
Yeah, very good lap there, and we're just seeing Burrell, I think, coming up to the line. He did invalidate us up, and that would have been a 23.8. Yano and Baccarat cross the line 2 tenths apart, and Aguado puts himself provisional pole ahead of King by under a tenth of a second. It is 67 hundredths of a second, or thousandths of a second, sorry, that Aguado is ahead, so not bad time. Well, 68 thousandths, sorry, not 67. The game is a bit glitched.
But yeah, let's go. Obviously, and currently on board with Owen, currently down in 11th. If you had to put a lap time on the board. But yeah, I mean, as we mentioned, only 2 constructors teams now capable of winning the championship. Obviously, Alpine have a 26.5 point lead, and with 29 points being the maximum a team can take out of a weekend, it's very unlikely that Alfa Romeo will take the constructors. So it definitely looks like it's going the way of Alpine, as Owen up to the line splits the championship protagonist on the Drivers' Championship side of things. And in terms of the Drivers' Championship, because obviously that is what the main focus is going to be on right here, because obviously the constructors it's essentially done. It is essentially done. It's almost like a formality right now, because there's only 2.5 points that the Alpines need to score as a pairing to take the constructors. So it's like a formality, this race, in terms of the constructors. But the Drivers' Championship, 13 points separating Aguado and King coming in tonight. King obviously leading the way on 91 points. Aguado in P2 on 78. So 13 points separating those 2 drivers. Obviously, maximum you can take out of a weekend is 17 points. Of course, 16 points for the win, and of course the fastest lap point as well. It is all in King's hand, but I mean, we was looking at the permutations earlier. King needs to finish 6th or higher to absolutely guarantee the championship for himself.
Yeah, it does. Just going through it now. Well, yeah, it does. 6th or higher, and he wins the title. He does. If Aguado wins with the fastest lap, that will put him. Well, wait, I'm getting myself confused. King needs. Yeah, if Aguado wins the fastest lap, King needs to finish. No. Nah, we talked about this before, and now it's just lost. I've just lost it.
It's 6th. He needs to finish 6th or
Yeah.
above, because obviously 6th place is 5 points that the King would be taken from this race, and the maximum that Aguado can get is 17. So that 5 points on top of the 13 leaves with 18 points. So there we go. Obviously, if King finishes 7th and Aguado picks up the win with the fastest lap, then they would be tied on points, but Aguado, in terms of winning more races this season, I believe would take the championship on countback.
Yep. And I believe if Aguado only finishes 2nd with the fastest lap, of course, that would be King only. Well, King needs to get a point. Just needs to get a point.
And
I
of
believe,
course,
yeah.
we do also need to also take into consideration Aguado cannot win the championship if he finishes 3rd or below, and if he finishes 2nd, the only way he can take the championship if he finishes 2nd is if he gets the fastest lap whilst finishing 2nd, but also if King retires from the race. So essentially it's race win or bust for Aguado here tonight. And with Owen here, with Alex here, with Aiden here, tactician as well. Obviously, Lifeboat has had some very good races. Pocoral very quick on his day as well. Stretch, Yano, Alex Marciano. There's so many drivers that could get into the mix and potentially throw a few spanners in the works for King here. I mean, but it is all in King's hand, really. I mean, he has the advantage coming in tonight, and we have to look back at that poor run of form that Aguado had in the mid-season. Obviously, round 6 at Suzuka, finishing P12. Round 7 at, I believe it was at Italy, finishing P13. Round 12 at Belgium. Round 8 at Belgium, finishing 12th. And then he had a race ban at Jeddah. So 4 races where he did not pick up any points compared to obviously King picking up the 1 DNF, which was at Suzuka. But how crucial is that race ban going to be for Aguado come the end of the season?
Yeah, I think all of those 4 races that you mentioned are equally as impactful as that race ban, so you can't pin it on the race that he obviously had a ban for. All 4 of the races, 3 of the races he was in, he could have easily picked up like 2 points in each of those, and the gap would be down to 7 points. So yes, it is a missed opportunity to get some points, but he also had 3 other races they could have got points in, but he didn't.
Yeah, I mean, currently on board with Aguado, I mean, he has to throw absolutely everything at this final race, and honestly, I'm beginning to think, will we see Aguado obviously improving on his lap time? Yes, he does by a 10th and a half, but I'm getting a little bit flashbacks here to 2016 vibes, you know, Rosberg versus Hamilton, you know, where Aguado may need to back up King into the likes of Owen, Aiden, Alex, and you know, some of the drivers in behind. Could we see like little tactics like that come into play?
Yeah, we could do, but you just got to be careful with the 2 DRS zones. Of course, it's going to be very... If you're allowing King to just follow you too close into the DRS zones, then is going to be bad news for you. So, yes, you can back them up in Sector 3, but nowhere else on the track you can do that. A stretch and lifeboat put more cars, even Nassim comes through and puts more cars between himself and Aguado. But that doesn't matter because King goes provisional pole by 7 thousandths of a second.
Absolute incredible tussle going on between the championship protagonists here tonight, Aguado and King. Obviously, I mean, it's not just the the Drivers' Championship in terms of places that need to be settled here tonight, because there's a very I mean, it's not for a title, but I mean, it's going to be for pride, like who finishes best of the rest. Obviously, Tactician currently in third on 56.5 points, so he's completely out of it in terms of the championship. But in his battle to get third and essentially best of the rest, he has Aiden 6.5 points behind him. He has Owen 7.5 points behind him. He has Alex Marciano 8.5 points behind him, and he has Miguel 9.5 points behind him. And obviously, Fleddy is the next man, but of course, Fleddy, I don't believe he's here tonight. Obviously, he's not here in qualifying. I don't think he was able to attend tonight, but Fleddy was only like a point and a half behind Miguel. So, I mean, the battle for third in the standings is definitely going to be an interesting one as well, because that's essentially for best of the rest.
Yeah, it definitely is, and I'm just looking on board with Alex Marciano at the moment. He did set a good first sector. It was about a tenth up on his time, but just seeing what he can do with his sector 2 split, just under half a tenth, so it doesn't look like he will be moving up any positions unless he absolutely aces this final sector.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, Alex a little bit further along, so we'll jump on board with him real quick. I was currently on board with Owen right there. Marginally up in the middle sector was Owen, and we're going to see what Alex can do as he comes through the final corner there. Taking a very tight line for the penultimate corner, I noticed, but to the line, he goes up into P7, so he's into the 21s, and it looks like Owen has backed out of his lap as well, so he's going to peel off into the pits. Just over 4 minutes to go in the session, and I'm not going to lie, I mean, over the course of the season, I mean, we still got this race to go, but race of the season so far, I mean, I can't lie, I still think Suzuka was the race of the season.
Personally, I think Silverstone. Silverstone, basically, for that final lap, I have to say Silverstone.
I am going to say Suzuka for the simple fact that we had a train going all the way in the top 9, and then a late safety car. Daniel, building a 3 second, building the gap, picking up a 3 second time penalty. The safety car bunching them all back up again, and then Daniel almost winning the race because who was it now? I think it was. Off the top of my head, it's gonna bug me now. I'm gonna have to go back and have a look by you. But yeah, I mean, we had Peter Vull, Fleddy, and Campora, like essentially 3 wide into the Casio triangle, trying to get the race win out on track.
Yeah, in the end, it was Peter Vull, I believe, who got the win in that race.
Yeah, it was Peter Vull by under half a tenth to Fleddy in second place, and then Daniel managed to snag the final podium position with his 3 second time penalty by 3 thousandths of a second. So that's how close it was for Campora. But to me, that was race of the season so far. Obviously, we could have a brand new race of the season candidate here in Abu Dhabi. It is all going to depend how everyone is going to play here, and if anyone is going to fancy themselves playing spoiler in the championship, because obviously, I mean, Alpine, as we mentioned, they essentially are nailed on for the constructors. 26.5 points, and there shouldn't be much in terms of threat in terms of the constructors, unless we get any of the other what's called teammates and that. So if like Aguado's teammate came in a bit late, if Fleddy came in a bit late for Red Bull, or if I believe it was Miguel's teammate coming in a bit late as well. So I mean, unless obviously we got late joinees coming in, it should be Alpine for the constructors. But these guys can play spoiler in terms of the Drivers' Championship as well, as Borel is currently on a lap coming into the chicane now in the middle sector. Runs a little bit deep on entry, so that does compromise him a little bit coming out on the exit. But a lot of traffic now through the final sector that do need to be aware of Borel coming through. Trying to get his way up the order. Yet to set a lap time though is Borel and Soapbox as well in the Red Bull, and he didn't want to take that line through the corner, but look at this, he's coming up to so much traffic, and the Aston Martin, Borel's not going to be happy with that, and yeah, that is his qualifying session over and done with now.
Yeah, should still cross the line here, but it's not going to be a competitive lap time, so he'll be starting towards the back, but it's sensible from him to let everyone pass because he doesn't want to disturb anyone who's preparing for their lap. And what Aguado's doing?
Yeah, Aguado has not come out for a final run. Maybe
he's saving.
Yeah, trying to save a fresh set of tyres for the race, which could come in and benefit him later on in the race. You never know. Tactician's going to be the first man across the line. He does have an AlphaTauri in behind him. Potentially Chris or Lifeboat, as it is Lifeboat that's in behind him. So keep an eye on Lifeboat. He's currently up in P3. As I'm going to stay on board with Tactician. Currently third in the Drivers' Championship. Coming down MP11 here in this qualifying session, and let's see if Tactician can get himself up the order as he has Lifeboat crossing the line in behind him. Checker flag has fallen. Tactician, no position improvement. Lifeboat improves his lap time, but not his position. And that's him in P5 now as his teammates out on a lap. You've got Stretch now coming through as King improves on his lap time. He's got a 21.4 there, and yet Stretch running wide through the final corner. Invalidation there. Aiden is an improvement, gets himself up into P7. So Alex Marciano and Owen. I believe Janel there, popping up into P3. What a lap from Janel.
Yeah, just keeping an eye on Owen and Alex at the moment. The two final cars to cross the line. Alex just coming towards the final corner here. He did have a decent improvement in Sector 2. What will it be?
Oh, it's
P6. Then we have Owen. It looked like he was marginally down in Sector 2, but I'll have to see what it's like. Really cuts the inside, and that's... Didn't look like an improvement. It looked like he ran wide at the final corner, but 5th place.
Yeah, absolute heartbreak, and... yeah, I think he just got a little bit too greedy on the inside. But let's run you through the order one more time. It is the championship leader, King, leading the way. And he is going to be joined on the front row by the only man who can possibly take it away from him, Aguado. That's going to be spicy going into turn 1, that is for sure. Yano and Lifeboat will share the second row with Owen in P5, Stretch in P6, and of course Alex Marciano in P7, Nassim in P8 with Aiden in P9, and Soapbox rounding out the top 10. Then outside the top 10 we have Chris, Pocoral, Tactician, Miguel, Aldo, and Borel, who unfortunately for him got blocked by, I believe it was Pocoral on his final run. But I tell you what, pretty decent, just over a second separating the entire field here in qualifying. And before we actually move into the race, obviously a massive shout out to our sponsors at GT Omega. So make sure you guys, whenever you go on this site, make sure you go into the checkout and make sure you use code PSGL there. But yeah, I mean, it is marinated beautifully for what could be a very exciting season finale, because we've got the two championship contenders side by side on the front row on the run into turn 1.
Yeah, it could be could be something that we've seen in the past happen in championship battles that we could go into, but I doubt that it will happen between these two drivers. We doubt we'll see an intentional crash.
Are you thinking, let's call it Michael Schumacher-esque type
Yeah.
manoeuvre, is it?
Yeah.
I mean,
It could happen, but it's just not something. But yeah, 5 red lights.
Yep, 5 red lights, and we are lights out, and away we go for the season finale here in Abu Dhabi. Everyone, apart from Borrell, opted in for a set of the hard compound tyres, and they come through turn 1 perfectly fine. Aguado following in behind King now for the race lead, and he needs to get ahead. Remember, Aguado 13 points behind King in the championship. Essentially, he cannot finish below second place, and the only way he can win if he does finish second place is if he has the fastest lap and King does not finish the race, and that finishes outside the points. So that's the only way Aguado can win from his current positions, if King is not in the points. Ooh. And Aguado does not get fastest lap. But coming in at turn, coming into the chicane now in the middle sector.
Oh, he's been touched round, Yano.
Oh, Yano in behind. So calamities in behind you as Alex Marciano under pressure here for Owen for P4, and look at this stretch going through as well around the outside.
No.
I'm seeing desync by you. I'm seeing big desync.
Yeah, that was definitely a desync from stretch because he.
I think it's Owen. Owen's bouncing around with me.
It must have been stretch, I think. Must have been stretched because he smashed into Owen and then smashed into his teammate Alex.
Owen's bouncing around for me. I'm on board with Owen, and he is kind of bouncing back and forth every now and then. So
yeah,
I think Owen a little bit bugged. But what that has done is given these guys a huge lead up front, and this is not what Aguado wants, because really he wants the pack to be on the back of him to essentially try and get King to drop positions here, because that's the only way he can win this title.
Yeah, it really is. And I've just seen one McLaren retire in the pit lane, and then we've got... Well, actually, no, was it in the pit lane? Yeah, I think it was. But then we also saw Burrell in the pits to go on to the hard tyres. And look at this battle that's happening behind stretch. You got Owen and Chris battling the ET8 teammates. Then we've got Soapbox as well, making his way down the inside, potentially looking at a move on Owen, but he isn't able to get it done. Owen's looking for a move, but he can't get it done on Yano.
I mean, I'm not sure where Owen is on track. I mean, he did just teleport for me, so
yeah,
Owen under pressure.
Whoa. Owen once again just tapping the rear of Yano, and Chris gets past him. King with the fastest lap. Lifeboat has found his way back into the fight for the lead with the fastest lap as well, leaving Pockerow behind him. So this is now suddenly becoming a three car race for, well, the lead.
Yeah, as we got a big battle by here for P5 between Stretch, Yano and Chris, as it looked like there for a moment Chris trying to force a way through, but getting a little bit boxed in there, and a little bit of contact with Yano, and obviously decided to let Yano continue on and maintain that position. Obviously lap 3 DRS is enabled, so now Yano down the inside, and it will be job done there for Yano as he goes up into P5, but will Stretch be able to come back at him with a second bite of DRS here, and no, on the run down into turn 9 he's got to stick in behind the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening with Tactician here. His car is ghosted. Well, when I was looking at him, his car was ghosted, but now it's not. He had Alex all ghosted through. Well, he was ghosted through Alex, so I'm not sure what's happening there. A little bit of wheel spin there on the exit there for Tactician, but looking a bit further. Well, actually, Alex is right on the gearbox of him, but Chris is right on the gearbox of Stretch as Nassim comes in from the hard tyres. And Aldo gets a move done on Soapbox.
Yep.
So up into P8 for the Alpine driver.
Yeah, very opportunistic move there from Aldo coming into turn
Whoa.
1 as Stretch has been overtaken by both Chris and Aldo going down into the hairpin. And look at this now. Everyone's going to be DRS slipstreaming each other, maybe using a bit of battery as well. Will Soapbox be able to get through here? Doesn't look like it. He's dropping a little bit further back, maybe opting for a bit more of a downforce setup compared to a top end speed one as Aldo, and that is a big lag moment that I just saw with Chris.
Yeah, but Aldo opting for the outside line, clears Chris, so won't look for an inside, but that's Stretch. Whoa, what's happened there, Stretch? He's lost his front wing and that's a safety car.
Yep, that is a safety car on lap 4 of 29, and honestly, I'm not 100% sure
Aguado's
with...
in.
Yeah, Aguado making a call.
Everyone's in apart from King. Well, everyone in the top 4 is in apart from King. Aldo stays out. And Chris.
Has to back up his teammate Aldo, going to make sure that he can back up King here. So obviously he's trying to make sure that King wins the Drivers' Championship. But of course, with Alpine, it's all about not only making sure King takes the Drivers' Championship, but also making sure that they score enough to just absolutely seal off the constructors. Because of course, the only team here tonight that has both drivers attending this race that are mathematically within a chance is the Alfa Romeos, but the gap between Alpine and Alfa Romeo is so much that as long as Aldo and King don't do anything silly in this race, and obviously the Alfa Romeos have an absolutely flawless race and get a 1-2 finish, then I mean Alpines end up winning the constructors.
Yeah. But I think I'm not sure about this strategy called pitting under the safety car, because they've got to go a long distance on these medium tyres. So,
yeah, but what I know exactly what Aguado's thinking here, and I kind of like it because obviously, essentially, Aguado not only needs to finish ahead of King, but he needs King to drop down the order. And seeing so many people behind him come into the pits as well, opting for the same strategy has him. This is a pretty good position for Aguado because essentially he's going to do medium now to the end, and he will be on the faster tyre right now, so he should have the pace to get through on Chris. It depends on how much Aldo really fights Aguado here when he tries to overtake for P2, and then of course overtaking King for the race lead is going to be his own difficulty as well. But Aguado, this is his best chance, I think, in terms of making sure that he has a chance in this Drivers' Championship.
I think what would be smart for Aldo is to let Chris past, or like on the restart, don't make it hard for Chris to pass if he's right behind him. So then, if Aguado was to get past Aldo, then he'd still have to get past Chris to get to King. So if I was Aldo, I wouldn't make it I wouldn't make it difficult for Chris to pass, but then become the Minister of Defence against Aguado. Become the Sergio Perez.
Well, I don't think Aldo really needs to drop the position to Chris in order to do that. I think he can do that regardless, because obviously his goal in this is going to be to give King the gap that he needs. And if Chris is all over the back of King, let's say, then obviously King's going to be battling with Chris, and that could bring in its own little issues, because I mean we've seen a couple of people a bit of desync that's gone on here and there, which has caused several issues. I think out on track, which of course has led to a couple of front wings going off and a couple of early pit stops before the safety car came out. I think it contributed to Aiden retiring in the pit lane as well. Of course, Aiden, one of the guys who was battling for third in the standings, which obviously would have been best of the rest. Safety car is now in this lap.
Cool.
So, who should we go on board with? Should we go on board with King? Because I feel like Aldo is going to allow King to build a bit of a gap here.
Yeah, I think it will. I'm going to go on board with Aguado. Just see how he handles this restart. He's already getting very close to the back of Chris.
Look at that.
Just deciding he's gone.
Look at that, Aldo there, just giving King a bit of breathing room early on, so King gets a very good restart, and Aldo goes a little bit off track through turn 1, a little bit of sightseeing there from the Alpine, as it looks like a big calamity at the back there with Borrell. Obviously we've got Stretch and Nassim in the pits, but look at Aguado down the inside, gets the move done, and he could have the traction on the exit here. Is he going to be able to get 2 in 1?
No.
Aldo needs to put up a big defence here, but I don't think he's got the straight line speed to combat Aguado.
No, he hasn't got
here.
the tyres for it. He just hasn't got the tyres, and Aguado gets the move.
As well. Lifeboat, they're going to try around the outside, and he is going to push through as well. So Lifeboat through, up into P3. Aldo cannot contain the medium runners for too long. Aguado and Lifeboat straight through, up into P2 and P3 now, respectfully. And now they can begin their hunt on King. And remember, King, as long as King finishes in the top 6, it doesn't matter what Aguado does. But with so many drivers on the mediums, it could be tricky for King to keep a hold of his current position.
The only thing that could save him in this situation is the fact that everyone who's on the mediums will have to do another stop, and of course King is already doing a 1 stop. So if he times it right, he could pit around the same time as everyone else, and then it'll just be all out pace rather than who's got the better tyres.
I mean, absolutely, but we're going to go up on board with the lead now. I was staying on board with Pokerell, who's looking to get a move done on Chris, and he does down the inside into the hairpin in the background there, and it looks like Soapbox is going to come through now. But right now we're on board with Aguado as he looks to take the race lead here from King. And he's down the inside, and this should be a job done. Yet King not really going to fight it. And
but now he's got to be wary of Lifeboat behind him, because of course better tyres, and Lifeboat's not messing about. He's not messing around. His Lifeboat goes up into P2.
Lifeboat through up into P2. So King right now falling back, but he does have a bit of a gap back to his teammate in behind, and his teammate under pressure from Pokerell. That is bold and brave, and that is a bit of contact between the pair of them, and
that's Chris going through as well.
Yeah, and it could be
just
Soapbox as well. Oh, just cutting on board with that then at the end, and it looks like Soapbox able to avoid calamity there as Chris and Aldo they make a small bit of contact. Well, Aguado with the new fastest lap of the race. Tactician under pressure from Janel, his teammate alongside him into turn 1, and Janel around the outside, job done as Owen into the pits retires from the session, and that is him done for this race, and of course leaves the session immediately, and he is not happy with that, as we're seeing on the rundown into the hairpin, drivers looking for the moves, and I tell you what, they could be looking at potential steward reports tonight if they go for these risky lunges down the inside, because they're not all going to work out as Soapbox. Oh, Soapbox were there with a risky lunge on Chris, and that is what I was just about to say now with the risky lunges. Didn't work out, but look at this now. Absolute pandemonium here on the exit of the chicane as oh my god, sorry, Soapbox making a mistake going into the into the chicane, and it's absolutely caused pandemonium here. Aldo down to P10, and the medium runners are so busy fighting each other that it's giving King exactly what he needs. But now he has Pokerel on the back of him, so King could drop down to P4 here. Tactician's now up into P5, and he has Alex Marciano, he has Chris, he has Yanel, he has Aldo, he has Miguel, and he has Soapbox, all within a second of him.
Yeah, that's insane train right there as Yano gets a move done on Chris, and now Chris has Aldo all on his rear. But yeah, as you're saying, Pokerau is gaining on King, and he will have DRS on this lap. Yes, he does. So he might not get it done on this straight, but he'll have every opportunity to get it done on the second straight.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Owen in the chat, and obviously not very happy with how his race has gone. So, oh my God, Aldo with a big lunge down the inside there, trying to get the move done on Yanel for P7. Obviously, side by side now with Chris as Pokerel gets through on King for P3. And remember, as it currently stands, this is still not enough for Aguado in the championship. Remember, King does need to drop a few more positions. Essentially, he needs to finish behind Yanel here. And now we're going to see if Alex, Tactician, and Yanel have the pace to close up to King to get the overtake done before the second, I'm going to say the second phase of pit stops, because we did have pit stops under the safety car, but of course it'll be the first phase for King here in this race. And the gap, 2.9, 2.8 in this is coming down.
Yeah, Aguado does have the fastest lap at the moment, so as it stands, he will need King to finish below 6th.
Yeah, 7th. Essentially, he needs Tactician, Alex, and Yanel to close up as quickly as possible to King, get the moves done on King, and then be able to hold King off for the remainder of the race. Obviously, Miguel has just managed to get through the hard runners, but he might end up losing that position back to Chris. And obviously, Soapbox as well, potentially was looking to get the move done on Chris, but decided to back out of it. Chris down the inside of Miguel here for P8, and Miguel's going to look for a better exit, and Lifeboat obviously getting close to the back of Aguado, but currently on board with this battle with Miguel and Chris, and job done for Miguel with DRS. And now Soapbox needs to try and get through on his medium tyres.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off a little bit there, but Lifeboat is trying to spoil the party here. He has been lapping faster than Aguado in these laps, and you can tell he's always about half a second there or thereabouts behind Aguado, so he's not exactly pulling away, but something that is helping him is the fact that King is dropping away from Pocaro, and that's allowing Alex, Tactician, and Yano all to get onto the back of King. So 1.5 seconds is the gap from Alex to King. Well, get back onto this at the start of the next lap.
Yeah, and obviously big thing as well, Alex is beginning to pull away from Tactician. Tactician now out of DRS range, and he has used a bit of ERS to close back up within a second. Obviously Alex is just outside that 1 second window on King. He might have actually just been able to pick it up.
Lifeboat for the lead, and he gets it done.
Yeah, and I don't think Aguado was really fighting that too much. I think he knew that difficult to keep Lifeboat behind with DRS, and both of them similar on their ERS usage as well, so just goes to show how powerful DRS can be in this race. Lifeboat now into the lead, and obviously as it currently stands, I mean, you mentioned that Aguado has the fastest lap as well. Obviously currently in P2. The only way Aguado can win the championship, finishing P2 with the fastest lap, is if King does not score any points. But King now under pressure from Alex Marciano, Tactician, and Yano. So now this is where things can get a little bit dangerous in terms of the Drivers' Championship. Because if King finishes 7th and Aguado picks up the race win with the fastest lap, then Aguado takes the Drivers' Championship if that was to happen. But King, as long as he keeps doing what he's doing, stay within the top 6, he'll be taking home the Drivers' Championship here.
Yeah, it does, and looks like Aguado isn't totally just out of it, although he does outbreak himself a little bit there. He's not going to be dropping away from Lifeboat, and yeah, he's just completely breezing past the Lifeboat here. But looking at Alex, he's within half a second of King. He's not going to get close enough to get a move done at the end of this straight, but definitely piling the pressure on King now.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's saving King a little bit is the fact that Alex, Tactician and Yano had to use a lot of VRS to close up. So that's one thing that is helping out King here in this race. But with DRS, these guys are going to be able to save their battery up. Obviously on the mediums as well, it's the faster tyre. And there we go, King's in.
Yeah, King in. He's going to be putting on the mediums, but the only problem with this is that it's earlier than the rest of them. And it's going to be kind of bad news for him, because when everyone else pits in again, well, actually, that's forcing everyone else to pit in again. You'd think that, the lights, especially Aguado, you'd think he'd want to pit in, the end of this lap.
Well, we'd have to wait and see. Obviously, Aguado has managed to get a bit of a gap to Lifeboat, but obviously that is closing with a DRS. So Aguado is showing a good bit of pace here as Soapbox and Miguel, they're trading positions down the DRS straight. Go back on board with the top as Aguado again able to hold off Lifeboat, and that's just DRS is really playing a factor here between Lifeboat and Aguado.
The top 3 are all going to be coming in, I reckon, and I think maybe Tactician and Soapbox, and even Miguel, because I think, being the lead Alfa Romeo, I think Tactician will come in. Oh, never mind. I thought they'd all be coming in. No, they're all staying out. The surprising from Aguado. Would have thought he wanted to pit in to cover off anything from King. I'm not sure what the times lost in the pit is, but currently the gap from Aguado to King is 26 seconds.
Yeah, I think the pit lane loss is, I want to say around 22 seconds.
It could, yeah, so if he was to pit, if Aguado and Lifeboat were to pit, they come out at least 2 seconds ahead. So now is the time to pit for these two. If they don't, they risk an undercut.
Yeah, potentially. Of course, King has 10 seconds to catch up to the back of Miguel, and of course Soapbox. Of course, as long as he gets ahead of Yano, he will take the Drivers' Championship, regardless of what Aguado does here.
Not.
But the
They're
top
not
two stay in.
This could be pretty bad for Aguado.
Tactician's in.
Tactician's in, yep.
And we're going to see how much Tactician has lost to King in this phase, because obviously Tactician was within that DRS train on King, so we'll see how much he loses. And Miguel's in as well, which brings King up to P7, which, I mean, right now it is not enough, but if King does get the fastest lap, then he's perfectly fine in 7th place.
He's still about 3 tenths off the fastest lap of Aguado. So maybe he's just preserving the tyre life, and yeah, Tactician comes out nearly 4 seconds behind King.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, the longer that these two stay out, the more of a chance King has of getting the undercut. As the gap is now just under 24 seconds.
Yep. King is absolutely flying out there on track right now. Obviously on the fresher tyres. The thing that could potentially come back and help, and that's a yellow flag in the final sector. Safety car. They have just been given an absolute lifeboat here. Lifeboat and Aguado will get the pit under safety car. So now King has essentially...
It's about 10 seconds. It's only about a 10-11 second loss now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the championship has just been turned on its head once again, because now King...
If I'm King, I'd say, well, I'm not sure if he's got another... He might have another fresh set of mediums, so if I was him, I'll put in.
Yeah, and he's coming in now.
Yeah, he is. That's a good choice from King there.
Oh, soft on Pokerau and Alex.
Yeah, it's very interesting. They don't really last that long around here. Very interesting, cool.
Okay, so this is where things are going to get a little bit interesting. Obviously, now King is going to come out in P9. Well, he's going to come out behind his teammate, actually. He's going to come out in P10.
P10? It's interesting. I think Aldo will definitely be one to not make it too difficult for his teammate to pass, so we can say confidently it's going to be another position. But if you're King, you are going to have to go power to the floor, just absolute no mistakes from this point, and just make up as much positions and time as you can. Because at the moment, Aguado's winning the championship.
Yeah, as it currently stands, Aguado is doing enough to win the championship, but let's kind of dissect this a little bit, and let's kind of read what we have going on. Obviously, right now, King is currently in P10. The drivers ahead of him, obviously, Soapbox, I don't think Soapbox is going to make it easy for him. Aldo will probably get out of the way. I don't think Aldo is going to make it difficult for King. Miguel has that time penalty, so Miguel, as long as he can stay close to Miguel's going to finish behind him regardless. Then you got the two soft runners of Pokerau and Alex Marciano. Are they going to be able to get to the end on those tyres? Question marks on that. So they could end up falling back to King as well. So out of the drivers ahead of him, potentially 4 drivers that could...
It could be safe.
Yeah, so it's one of them
ones. He could win the title by 1 point here. But the interesting thing to note is that Pokerau, if he being on the soft tyres, of course, is going to be faster than the mediums. If Pokerau manages to get through on both Lifeboat and Aguado, that could spell all sorts of danger for Aguado. But yeah, like you're saying before, the softs, big question marks on how long these softs will last, and personally I think they will die off at least 2 or 3 laps before the end.
Yeah, I think I'm going to throw out a prediction, lap 25 they begin to completely fall off a cliff.
Yeah. But yeah, just the gap at the moment, even with under safety car conditions, the gap between Aguado and King is 7 seconds. Well, nearly 8 seconds, but going through the chicane is probably going to filter out to about 5. Yeah, about 5 seconds is the gap. So already at a huge disadvantage. And all because he decided to pit earlier. This is the nature of it, though. It's a gamble when you pit, and you're not sure when a safety car is going to come out, or if it comes out. And when it does, Aguado was in the right position, and King wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, that is what happens in league racing. I mean, sometimes you can make a call and the safety car completely ruins everything in terms of how you approach a race. But for Aguado, Lifeboat, Pocorel, Yano, Tactician, Alex Marciano, for those guys, that safety car was absolutely perfect for him. And same with Soapbox as well, because he managed to get himself ahead of King as well, and that safety car being deployed. But now we have to see if Aguado has the pace now to get away from Lifeboat when DRS is not going to be active. Because Aguado needs to get away from Lifeboat, because he cannot afford to be under pressure from Lifeboat here anymore, because obviously not only has he got Lifeboat to worry about, he's got Pocorel to worry about, he's got Yano to worry about, he's got Tactician, he's got Alex to worry about. And for King, obviously he's going to want to make these moves on track. He's not going to want to sit around and wait for tyres to drop off just in case they don't come back to him in time. He's not going to want to wait for the 3-second time penalty of Miguel to get added on at the end of the race. King is going to want to make these overtakes on track, and these guys could get their elbows out playing spoiler in this Drivers' Championship. It is Aguado currently leading the race. He is 13 points behind the championship leader, RCR King, currently down in P10. Remember, Aguado currently with the fastest lap as well. Just confirming that. Yep, fastest lap for Aguado. Currently is taking 17 points out of this race. And King right now is picking up one solitary point as it currently stands. But the safety car is in this lap. Lap 19 of 29. And we'll be going racing now on lap 20. Ladies and gentlemen, the championship is heating up. It hangs in the balance. Aguado, King. In the chat right now, let me hear your predictions.
It's going to be very, very tight. Going to be very nip and tuck here between the two drivers. Of course, you're saying 17 points is the haul from Aguado, 1 point so far. So he is currently leading by 4 points, I believe. No, it'll be 3 points he's leading by. Just wait and see when Aguado goes. Safety car is in the pit. Life out trying to predict. And he's gone. Aguado's gone.
Yep, Aguado's gone, and Lifeboat very alert to it. Pocorel goes a little bit deep in the final corner, but on those soft tyres, he just has the grip to make it work. And ladies and gentlemen, lap 20. And it's a very good restart here if you are Lifeboat, because you're not getting dropped early on, and you're not under severe pressure from Pocorel. In fact, saying that, but look at Pocorel. He's going to go around the outside into the hairpin here as Lifeboat.
He could be playing spoiler here to his fastest lap of Aguado. Purple sector 1 already from Pocorel, and he's not wanting to stick around long is Pocorel.
Yeah,
Alex goes defensive and King gets past Soapbox.
And he's going to get through on Aldo as well. Aldo not going to make it difficult for his teammate. And there we go, King up into P8 already. Pocorel on those soft tyres, getting himself up the order. Alex Marciano with a 3-second time penalty. And that's another one. As here goes Pocorel. Gets through, up into the race lead. He goes now. And as we mentioned with that fastest lap...
Pocorel went a little bit wide, left the door open for Aguado there. But he stays ahead. Alex gets past Yanil there on the inside. Very audacious move there from Alex on the softer tyres. And yeah, he's looking. King is already looking on the back of Miguel, and he can see his championship rival ahead of him. That's got to be spurring him on, and that's Pocorel with the fastest lap now.
Yep, and that fastest lap means that now...
it doesn't matter where Aguado finishes.
No, so Aguado, obviously, if he wins the race, that's 16 points. So, obviously, as it currently stands, I believe King and Aguado, obviously, if Aguado takes the win and King stays in 8th, I believe they are level on points at that point.
Yeah, and Aguado would win it on comeback, but King isn't the sounding alike of that. Went for a... Well, I had a look at a move on Miguel, but he didn't get it done, and now he's looking to get a better exit, and he looks like he does. He's just sticking behind Miguel, but Miguel is pulling away now, but that's already Aguado really pushing on to get onto the back of Pocorel. He was about 2 attempts, now it's about 4 attempts, and he's really starting to push on. And as it stands, King would be 6th place with the 2 penalties from Alex and Miguel. Of course, 6th place gets you 5 points. And in the case of Aguado, if you win, that swings it to a 3-point gap in your favour. If King finishes 6th, that's 2-point swing in his favour again. So it's all to play for here in these last 7 or 8 laps.
Yeah, absolutely. Aguado doing a fantastic job right now, keeping with Pocorel. And I think Aguado right now obviously has DRS and has the ERS, so potentially could end up taking back the fastest lap point. Obviously, he's not going to risk the overtaking here into the chicane as Alex, down the inside of Lifeboat there, and Lifeboat there goes very deep, and obviously Alex could be now playing a bit of spoiler as well, but the further up the road that Alex gets as well, it means that the gap increases between him and King.
Yeah, it does, but looking at the gaps that there are right now, it's about 2.9. Yeah, 2.9, so it's right on the edge of that 3-second margin. But yeah, it seems like the soft's already starting to fall off a little bit, because Aguado's really keeping on the back of Pocorel, and Alex is just outside the 1 second window of Aguado, was teetering on the edge of it. So yeah, to me it seems like the softs are already starting to fall off a little bit.
Yeah, maybe so, and it's going to be a question. Obviously, we do not think that the softs will be good to the end of the race. I predicted around lap 25 for these softs to completely fall off here. But if you are Aguado, at what point do you go for this overtake?
With him being so close, he could realistically go for it now. He isn't using his ERS. He's already manoeuvring himself towards the outside line. Pocorel stays ahead of him for now, but what he's doing by not getting this move done now is bringing Alex back into it, putting the pressure on Aguado. So yeah, what the gap was about 1 second, it was about half a second going down the straights. Maybe setup related on Alex's side, but yeah, Aguado really needs to get a move done as soon as he can.
Yeah.
What's the saving grace for him actually now is the fact that Miguel's staying in DRS range of Tactician ahead. Because if he wasn't, King is right on his gearbox. He may go for a dive bomb into the hairpin. He doesn't. But that's a bit of a twitch there. A little bit of a twitch there from Miguel, and this is Aguado getting on the back of Pocorel. Pocorel not defending it.
King getting through on Miguel
and Aguado,
as well.
Yeah, simultaneous moves there from the 2 championship rivals.
Yeah, and the question is, will Miguel try to fight that back? But doesn't look like he is going to get the run that he needs to fight that back. But look at now, Pocorel and Alex Marciano going to scrap it out. Oh,
no, Pocorel! No. And yeah, Aguado just... That's King's championship now.
Yep.
Pocorel, man. You can't be going for moves like that. Oh.
And ladies and gentlemen,
especially in a championship fight, you cannot be going in for moves like that against a championship contender.
Yeah, 100%. And there's absolutely no words for that right there. Pokeral absolutely sending one on Aguado into turn 9, and obviously Aguado getting tagged around from it. The championship was hanging in the balance. It's not anymore, ladies and gentlemen. RCR King is the Formula 6 Drivers' Champion, and honestly, I mean, whether he was going to win it or not by the end of the race, I mean, King is a well-deserved champion, but I think both King and Aguado will be absolutely fuming at this battle being taken away from the pair of them.
Yeah. They really will, because it was just brewing all season long between these two. And even with Alex's start of the season, if he didn't miss those first few races of the season, he could have been in that championship fight as well. And he's showing it here. He's in P2 on the softs. But he does have that penalty just lingering over. But yeah, he could have definitely been in this championship fight if he didn't miss those races.
Yeah, absolutely. And the mood has deepened. Lewis in the chat asking who will be champion. Well, it is now 100% confirmed. King is the new Drivers' Champion. And obviously, the only Constructors team that was able to challenge Alpine here tonight was the Alfa Romeo team. And currently, King up in P5 alone is enough to see Alpine take the title as Yano down the inside of Pokerel into the chicane. A bit of a dampener here in the battle for the championship, obviously, with the incident with Pokerel and Aguado. They're seeing Aguado immediately retire on track, and yeah, I mean, you don't like to see it, but I mean, whether it was going to happen between King obviously trying to make his way up for the field, or obviously if Aguado was going to win out on track, regardless, King and Aguado were both deserving Drivers' Champions, regardless of the way that 100%. It turned out. And honestly, even though I know both of them will be absolutely fuming with the fact that they've been kind of resorted here with a bitter end to the season, given the fact that they weren't able to settle it out on track, because it was poised for a very intriguing end to the race, and obviously that has been kind of thrown out the window as, oh my god, King sending it down the inside of Yano into the hairpin. Oh, contact! Whoa. King's in the wall, and King's got no front wing. And this was the thing that...
It doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything, but...
Well, I mean, it doesn't do anything in terms of... obviously, in terms of the Drivers' Championship, I think Yano also picked up damage as well. I mean, I can't see it because the broadcast camera's not giving me a good enough view of Yano's car here. And is that damage on
it? It doesn't look like it's got damage.
Visually doesn't look like it.
It doesn't have a puncture, no. Doesn't look like it's got a puncture. Maybe he does have some damage because he was dropping back.
Yeah, I mean, Aldo with another 3-second time penalty. I mean, Aguado in the chat right now. Obviously, he's not happy with how his race has ended, and honestly, I don't blame him. I mean, either way, both King and Aguado have had absolutely fantastic seasons, both deserving of the championship, and I know both Aguado and King would be fuming with the fact that it ended the way that it did here tonight. And with Yano retiring in the pits as well, confirmation Alpine Constructors champions.
Yeah, it is confirmation, and King has decided to go on to fresh set of softs to get a fastest lap, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, the battle for the podium is obviously is still on. Pokerel, Tactician, and Soapbox. I can guarantee that there will be some steward inquiries on Pokerel with the lunge on Guardo that we saw early on. Tactician, again, Tactician doing what Tactician does best. He goes quietly for the race and just makes the places up, stays out of trouble, and gets himself fantastic results.
Yeah, he's just making a habit of it. Right now, it's us Nassim getting a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, obviously, Lifeboat right now is in. He's clear in this race at the moment, so the only thing that can stop Lifeboat is a mistake on his own end or a 3-second time penalty being picked up. Right now, we are on the final lap of the race. The podium is still up for grabs because these guys are still within 3 seconds of Alex here. So we're going to see if Pokerel, Tactician, Soapbox or Chris are going to be able to get onto the podium here. As DRS is activated, Pokerel has no ERS available. Chris gets through on stretch, which is what he needs to do. And Chris picks up a 3-second time penalty as Soapbox hits the back of Tactician here. Has that just done enough and Stretch is out of the race?
Stretch. Yeah, that's big. And that's Chris as well. Chris retired on track, I believe. So yeah, King will be getting some points. He may even get a fastest lap, but let's go back on board with the leader of this race, which is Lifeboat. It was a very good race from him throughout. As we're getting towards the line, that's 3 seconds. Oh.
He's okay. He has the gap. He has the gap. He's okay.
Pokerel Tactician on the podium.
And if Pokerel gets penalised for his lunge, then Alex will get the podium position because Soapbox misses out by 71 thousandths of a second. And Miguel comes through in P6, Nassim in 7th. And then, of course, we got the Alpines coming through. Aldo in P8 and King looking set for the fastest lap here to come through in P9 with the fastest lap. Ladies and gentlemen, Season 34's F6 Drivers Champion, RCR King, and the Constructors Champion, the Alpines, the pairing of RCR King and, of course, his teammate Aldo. And those two have been a decent force throughout the season. Obviously, Aldo has been able to contribute here and there, obviously sacrificing himself a few times in terms of trying to get King as high up the order as possible. And King has obviously picked up 2 race wins over the course of the season. Several 3 second places, obviously, and 2 third places. So a great handful of podiums collected by King over the course of the season. Just the 1 DNF to his name, which of course came at round number 6 at Suzuka. It was coming down to the final race, and obviously, I mean, for Aguado, obviously he's going to be looking back. He's going to be fuming with how this race ended. But of course, I think looking back at round 6, 7 and 8 as well, he'll be fuming about how those races went, and of course the ban for round 9. But let's run you through the order one more time. It is Lifeboat who takes victory ahead of Pokerel in P2 and Tactician in P3. Alex Marciano comes home in P4 with Soapbox in P5. Miguel in P6 with Nassim in P7. Aldo in P8 and King with the fastest lap coming home in P9. The last of the finishers, now non-finishers here, was Chris, Stretch, Yanel, Aguado, Owen, Borrell and Aiden. So a long list of DNFs here in this race. A lot of controversy coming through at the end in terms of the move from Pokerel on Aguado, and is a disappointing end to what has been a fantastic season, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely a disappointing end, but as much as it is a bitter end to what was a fantastic season, it's just been a fantastic fight between these two.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
and I absolutely echo that. Fantastic fight throughout the season from King and Aguado. King does take the Drivers' Championship though, and a well-deserved Drivers' Championship win as well. Obviously, as I mentioned, and 7 times he was on the podium, and of course 2 victories to his name as well, and definitely show consistency over the course of the season. But yeah, I mean, commiserations to Aguado. Unfortunately, wasn't meant to be this season, but I do hope that he is able to shake off this season, come back bigger, better, stronger next time around. And of course, we should be getting used to seeing Aguado up there battling for championships, because he's a fantastic driver. But yep, that of course is gonna bring an end to the final race here at Abu Dhabi, to round number 12, to the season finale of season 34. And of course, massive thank you to our sponsors at GT Omega as well. And for me, Michael Edwards, and for yourself, Quinn, it's been an absolute pleasure being able to bring you the action over the course of the season. But from the pair of us, I believe that it's going to be a season wrapped up. So unless you got any final words, Quinn?
It's just been an absolute pleasure to commentate with you, and hopefully we can do this again next season.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But thank everyone for tuning in here for the season finale. And of course, keep an eye out for season 35 announcements and everything. And we will be back hopefully next season for season 35. But until then, guys, is goodbye.